One more crew member of a sunken vessel rescued in waters southwest of Hong Kong. Another infection cluster suspected to be linked to the BA.4 or 5 subvariants of Omicron. Hello and welcome to TVB News. One more crew member of the sunken engineering vessel Fujing 001 was rescued today in waters southwest of Hong Kong. The man was found some 90 kilometers from where the ship split in two on Saturday. 14 other crew members are still listed as missing, while rescue workers have retrieved from the sea 12 bodies waiting to be identified. Timothy Lee has the details.
2 days ago, the mainland engineering ship Fujing 001 snapped in half southwest of Hong Kong as Typhoon Chaba skirted the city. Upon the request of mainland authorities, the Government Flying Service, or GFS, conducted a search and rescue operation. They successfully rescued 3 crew members at noon Saturday. At 5 a.m. today, Guangdong authorities reported that a Chinese warship had rescued a seaman of the sunken ship in waters 90 kilometers away from the shipwreck location. The man had been in water for more than 40 hours, but his condition remained stable. At 3:30 p.m., the authorities spotted multiple bodies in the same area. It remains to be confirmed whether the bodies were those of the missing crew. The GFS said it is adjusting its search and rescue area to the south to look for the remaining missing personnel of Fujing 001. But as 2 days have already passed since the shipwreck, the chances of survival of the missing crew members may be slim. A local shipbuilding engineer said strong waves during the typhoon would have made swimming impossible. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the Hong Kong Seamen's Union noted that those wearing life jackets could stay afloat and survive at sea for days even without food.
The city reported 1,841 new COVID infections, including 196 imported cases. Authorities flagged yet another infection cluster suspected to be driven by the more infectious BA.4 or 5 mutant strains. This time it includes an outbreak at a primary school. Jackie Lin tells us more.
Today, some 600 new infections were reported from schools. Among them is Ma Tau Chung Government Primary School, which logged 8 recent cases, with 2 suspected to carry the BA.4 or 5 variant. 4 cases are linked to a primary 6 class. 3 other classes also saw students and a teacher contract the virus. Including the latest case from the virus-hit hot pot restaurant in Kwun Tong, the city saw 11 cases likely involving the BA.4 or 5 strain. Health authorities admit these 2 variants could become the main driver of Hong Kong's latest COVID infection wave.
BA.4 and BA.5, we see transmission is very fast overseas. Therefore, it may become the dominant strain.
Still, Dr. Chuang Seok-kwan says more monitoring is needed as the 2 mutant strains currently account for less than 1% of Hong Kong's caseload.
Of course, we would like to control the spread as much as possible, but because of the highly infectious nature of this variant, it may not be possible. That's why as long as a proportion of severe and death cases are low, we may not be as worried as that.
There are also 34 cases with a BA.2 subvariant. 20 of them have untraceable sources of infection. Meanwhile, 5 more residential care homes reported COVID cases. There were no additional coronavirus-related deaths. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Neighboring Macau reported 68 domestic COVID cases. The latest cases sprang up from some 16 infection clusters. Macau kickstarted its 3rd round of mass COVID testing today, and the campaign will last for 5 days. Banks and government departments will provide limited services during this time. Macau's government said it is not ruling out a citywide lockdown if the pandemic situation continues to worsen. Over the course of this outbreak, about 850 COVID infections have been reported in the enclave. Overseas, a gunman opened fire inside a busy shopping mall in the Danish capital Copenhagen on Sunday, killing 3 people and critically wounding 3 others. The shooter was later arrested at the scene. So far, Danish police do not believe the shooting has been an act of terror. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Danish police believe the shopping mall shooting was not terror-related. They outlined it appears the gunman had acted alone and selected his victims at random. The suspect has been identified as a 22-year-old Danish man who was arrested after the shooting. He is believed to be known to mental health services. A 17-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl, both Danes, as well as a 47-year-old Russian man were killed when the shooter opened fire in the Fields shopping mall in Copenhagen. 4 other people, 2 Danish and 2 Swedish citizens, are being treated for gunshot wounds. They are in critical but stable condition. Several other people received minor injuries as they fled the scene.
This is awful, you know. You might wonder how a person could do this to other human beings, but it's beyond, you know, anything that's possible. My oldest daughter, who's 18, she's barely holding it together. My other daughter, she got in the stampede that started when the perpetrator was firing shots everywhere, apparently. She got cut in several places as well from people and falling off the chairs and all that kind of stuff. So, awful.
Sunday's shooting was the worst gun attack in Denmark since February 2015. Then a 22-year-old man was killed in a shootout with the police after going on a shooting spree in the Danish capital that killed 2 civilians and wounded 5 police officers. That attack was believed to have been motivated by Islamic extremism. The Sunday attack in Copenhagen comes just a week after a mass shooting took place in nearby Norway. Police said a Norwegian man of Iranian origin opened fire during an LGBTQ festival, which led to the deaths of 2 people and 20 others being injured. Daniel Rao, TVB News.
More violence, this time in the U.S. Video released yesterday showed 8 police officers in Akron, Ohio, were involved in a shooting that killed an unarmed black man. It's not clear how many shots were fired by the officers, but the man sustained more than 60 wounds. This report from NBC News, and a warning, some images are disturbing.
Nearly 1 week after Jayland Walker's death and facing growing community pressure, officials in Akron, Ohio, releasing the body camera footage.
I won't mince words. The video you're about to watch is heartbreaking.
It shows a harrowing police chase followed by a stunning hail of bullets. An estimated 90 rounds fired by 8 Akron, Ohio officers, killing and leaving 25-year-old Jayland Walker with 60 wounds to the body, according to authorities.
My youngest is 25 years of age as well, and I cannot imagine what life would be like without my son.
The approximately 7 minutes of raw video released alongside a second narrated clip gives new insight into what preceded the shooting early Monday morning. Police say they tried to pull Walker over for an unspecified traffic violation and an equipment violation, which is not shown on tape. But they say he took off, driving at high speeds, and Walker fired at them. Police saying you can see the flash from the gun from this security camera.
21 shots fired. That vehicle just had a shot come out of its door.
A shot is fired. That changes the nature of the contact.
Authorities say Walker later ran from his car wearing a ski mask. Officers, investigators say, fired tasers but missed. What followed? That deadly barrage of bullets. Police tonight saying officers said they thought Walker was turning toward them, reaching for a gun. Walker was unarmed when he was shot, though police say they found a gun and what appears to be a wedding ring in Walker's car.
Shoot somebody 60 and 70 times like they're nothing inhuman.
Anger in Akron boiling over.
We have sons ourselves. It could be any of our sons. And this is just horrible, like that many times.
We are done dying like this, in this manner, with this fate. Nobody should ever suffer the fate that Jayland Walker did.
Tonight, the family revealing just a month ago, Walker lost his fiancée.
Well, we know that immediately after the death of his fiancée, he was sad, but he wasn't exhibiting any kind of behavior that scared the family.
The family's attorneys say the 25-year-old food delivery driver had no criminal record. His mother and sister pleading for peace, overwhelmed with loss.
Why did this happen? And in such a manner, such a terrible, terrible way. Just why?
Back here in Asia, Japanese authorities say Chinese and Russian warships were spotted Monday around the disputed island chain known as the Diaoyu Islands in China and the Senkakus in Japan. According to the Japanese Defense Ministry, a Chinese frigate sailed in the waters of the uninhabited islands for about 6 minutes from 7:44 a.m. The Russian vessel stayed in the waters from around 7 to 8 a.m. Japanese authorities have lodged a protest in Beijing. The Chinese government has stated on numerous occasions that the islands are Chinese territory. And New South Wales is in the grip of heavy flooding after relentless rain. Fresh evacuation orders were issued today for Sydney residents. Flooding has been triggered in many low-lying suburb areas of Sydney. Over the weekend, several places in the state were hit with over a month's worth of rainfall. So far, 32,000 residents have been told to evacuate or warned they might receive orders to move. Further rain is likely to trigger landslides, and river catchments are already at full capacity. Off the New South Wales coast, a cargo ship has lost power after leaving Wollongong this morning. Tugs are preparing to tow it to safer waters. The New World Group launches a pilot program with employees working 4.5 days per week. And burglary inside the East Kowloon regional headquarters of the police. Welcome back to TVB News. Ukraine has withdrawn from Lysychansk in Luhansk, with Russia claiming full control of the eastern region. The battle now shifts to Donetsk, where Ukraine is still holding swathes of territory, but keeping control there will also be difficult for Kyiv. Matthew Bray reports.
The Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky acknowledged the loss, calling it a tactical withdrawal and saying his forces would regroup and take back lost ground. But seizing the Donbass is a key Kremlin war aim now half done. West of Lysychansk, at least 6 people were killed when Russia shelled Sloviansk heavily from multiple rocket launchers. Sloviansk is a city of splintered loyalties, with many elderly expressing sympathy towards Russia. The mayor said the city was still united without elaborating. Russian state TV has shown damage in the Russian city of Belgorod, 40 kilometers to the north of the Ukraine border opposite Kharkiv. They say Ukraine struck here and in Kursk, but that drones were shot down. The regional mayor, Vyacheslav Gladkov, was seen with residents. 3 people were apparently killed and 2 are missing, including a child. Gladkov claimed 11 apartment blocks and 39 houses were damaged or destroyed. The new Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, became the latest Western leader setting foot in Kyiv. He said Canberra will provide additional military equipment to Ukraine, meaning armoured personnel carriers, Bushmaster vehicles and drones, as well as sanctioning 16 more Russian ministers and oligarchs. Also meeting Zelensky, the International Olympic Committee head, Thomas Bach. The IOC said it would provide more money to rebuild damaged sports facilities and still support Ukrainian athletes. Matthew Bray, TVB News.
Turkish customs have detained a Russian cargo ship carrying grain, which Ukraine says is stolen, according to Ukraine's ambassador to Turkey. Ukraine had asked Turkey to detain the Russian-flagged vessel earlier. It is now anchored about 1 kilometer outside Karasu port. The ship's fate will now be decided by a meeting of investigators on Monday. Ukraine has accused Russia of stealing grain from territories seized by Russian forces since late February. It was allegedly loaded from a Russian-occupied port in southern Ukraine. And back here at home, Hong Kong conglomerate New World Group will launch a pilot program from this month to September, allowing staff to have a shorter working week. They said the program is set to help employees have a work-life balance. Christy Khan reports.
Most corporates in Hong Kong adopt a 5 or 6 day work schedule every week. affected by the prolonged pandemic. A lot of people have been working remotely, having more flexibility on working hours and locations. In view of the rapid changing business environment under the new normal, New World Group, a locally based company which focuses on property, hotels, and department stores, announced they will reintroduce summer Fridays from July to September. The new pilots program will enable employees of New World Development, K11, and NWS corporate office to have a 4.5-day work week and a work-from-home day without getting a pay cut. The company said they hope the program will help staff maintain a work-life balance so that their physical and mental health can improve. In recent years, numerous large enterprises overseas have begun to shorten the workday or reducing working hours to let employees achieve a healthy work-life balance. For example, around 70 companies in the UK involving 3,000 staff had already started to experience a shorter working week. Louis Pong, Chief Executive Officer of the Employees Federation of Hong Kong, said this arrangement may not be suitable for some industries, including the tertiary sector in the city. Also, he warned that shortening working hours may lead to a rise in production costs, as well as slowing down the economy. But Francis Mock, an Executive Council member of the Hong Kong Institute of Human Resources Management, said he believes this kind of family-friendly measures will help tackle Hong Kong's brain drain. Christy Khan, TVB News.
A man who allegedly killed his girlfriend inside a hotel room in West Kowloon has been charged with murder. 28-year-old Alex Lowe, who claimed to be unemployed, was taken to Kowloon City Magistracy by police. Magistrate Andrew Mock adjourned the case until October 17th upon the request of the prosecutor. Lowe did not apply for bail and was remanded in custody. The court heard that the 23-year-old Chow Wai-in was allegedly killed last week inside a room of the Ritz-Carlton in West Kowloon. More than 30 stab wounds and cut wounds were found on Chow's body. Sources say a suspected burglary took place at the Kowloon East Regional Headquarters of the police force today. No arrests have been made so far. Photos provided by our audience show several lockers were left open with scratch marks on their doors. It is understood the theft occurred last night on the 11th floor of the building. A police officer who was changing at the time found his locker had been forcefully opened with his stored cash stolen. At least 17 lockers were also prized open in the same manner. And that is the news. Thanks for watching.